Well, we are firmly in the Christmas season, and even before Christmas got here, we got two amazing gifts this year, and that is two Concord remakes. But the question I think a lot of us are asking are, what is Concord 2 and what is Concord 3? So I wanted to go over kind of how I'm looking at it and what I think the order should be and why. And to start out with, let's start out with the first announced game that was compared to Concord, which was Marathon. So Marathon gets announced, overwhelmingly negative reviewed by everyone, right? Everyone's like, well, this looks kind of gross. There was some initial things with it where we were introduced to kind of the idea of the world where we thought, okay, some of this looks like it could be pretty cool. We really saw the characters that we were playing, in addition to it being just an extraction shooter, because that was going to be the thing that investors believe was going to drive the biggest value. And this is before we found out that they ripped a lot of the look and feel from an individual named Anti-Real on Twitter. And that was the big thing that caused a delay for this game. It initially was meant to come out this year, 2025. That has now been pushed off to around March. And on the other hand, we have the Game Awards, which was just the Expedition 33 Awards. And the big highlight of the night, the big thing that was supposed to excite us all, comes on. They're saying, hey, this is going to be like super exciting, the makers of Titanfall and all this good stuff, and everyone was getting super excited. And then they showed off what was basically a generic hero shooter with some extra features on it. Immediately, everyone ridiculed it. Immediately, everyone started making fun of the characters. Immediately, people were calling it another Concord. I know some of you are like, okay, well, Highguard is set to release in January 2026, whereas Marathon right now is scheduled to release in March 2026. I believe that even though Marathon is meant to launch later, I believe it should be given the title of Concord 2 and Highguard should be given the title of Concord 3. And the reason is pretty simple. Marathon, I keep wanting to say Concord. Marathon was set to release first, and it basically got Realm Reborn. And for those of you that were around for the initial launch of Final Fantasy XIV, it came out, people played it, everyone hated it, and they basically had to rebuild the game from scratch. In the case with Marathon, it gets announced, people don't like it, beta period hits, people still don't like it. In fact, with the beta, around the same time, Arc Raiders did their beta, and everyone swapped from Marathon over into Arc Raiders. And people have been playing Arc Raiders like a ton, whereas Marathon, it was basically just immediately forgotten. So that initially wasn't enough to have it delayed, and it was only because of legal issues adding to the compounded issues of Marathon. Sorry, I keep wanting, my brain is just like, oh, just call it Concord. Because of that delay, that firmly put it into the next year for its release. But it should have come out this year. Whereas Highguard, they're not doing a beta run. What they basically did is they did it all in secret, and they're like, we're going to announce it at the Game Awards. People are going to be super excited, and they're going to love to play this game in January. I don't think people are going to love it. People may or may not love it. I am looking forward to everyone covering it. I will be playing this game this time because I did not have the privilege of playing Concord when it lived for that brief window of time, and I'm not going to miss out this time with Highguard here. But because we have this huge delay from Marathon, I think they should get the title of Concord 2. I think Highguard should be Concord 3. Of these two, I think Highguard has the most potential for it to be a success, purely by virtue of it being a free-to-play game. Unless things change dramatically, I believe Marathon is still set to have a $40 price tag. Now, ideally for them, they make it free-to-play, because I don't think everyone has already spent $40 on Arc Raiders for those that are actually interested in playing the game. And I know initially they were going to launch it without some big map that was supposed to be the thing that made people want to play Marathon. And once it gets out into live and people start to play it and they see it, well, the players will decide if it's good or not. And if it is good, Arc Raiders is just going to copy it. Like that's all it is. Whereas with Highguard, if people actually enjoy like the gunplay and the destructibility of the worlds, it does have the potential to have some kind of staying power. I don't think either of these are going to fail out that door like Concord did. That was I feel like a once in a generation kind of thing. And in the case of Marathon, I don't see it being successful at all, but there's like a PvE aspect to the game. So you could have, in Concord, you had issues with matchmaking because there were just no players to play against. Whereas with Concord, they have the ability to say, hey, just spawn more mobs in the world. And then even if there are no other extraction parties, like you can still have a functioning game because people can get in and play. Whereas with Highguard, because there is the free-to-play aspect, you're not like people are going to be playing it at various levels, right? You're always going to have, not always, but there's going to be dramatically more players playing Highguard than there will be Marathon because of that barrier entry not being there. So I think Concord 2, Marathon is still doomed, but I think it should be Concord 2, A Realm Reborn, or A Failure Reborn. We've jumped from plagiarism will make me God to death is the first step, and it literally kind of died in a way. You had that like art director get let go because of that most unfortunate discovery that they had, lifted the entire look, feel, and soul of the game from an artist on Twitter, as one does. But that's my thoughts and my breakdown of why I think each deserves its respective title. Either way, I hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas season. I hope to see you again in a future video. Farewell.